Hey, what's up, everybody? Adam Kitt, your real estate navigator and professional here in East Tennessee. And I was having an amazing conversation with my buddy Phillip here, who's joined me on this little short impromptu video chat call. Phillip is one of my go-to mortgage broker, mortgage lender folks here in East Tennessee with Simple Mortgage Solutions. And one of the main reasons I love working with Phillip is I can trust him with my life. We happen to go to church together, so we have that bond of faith and shared commonality there. But he also works for an independent mortgage broker, which means they have the ability to go out and shop multiple sources for the best rates and programs available on the planet. And that makes them a wonderful choice for just about every one of my buyers. And there aren't very many situations where you guys wouldn't be able to rise and fulfill any needs we have. So Phillip and I were chatting a little earlier today about a new client that we're going to be hopefully working with. And he says, hey, by the way, something to keep in mind about what's going on with the mortgage industry and rates and refinances and things like that. I'm like, hey, why don't we just hop on a call and you can tell the whole world, or at least the 5 people that might watch this. I'm just kidding. We can just share this information with a bigger audience than just keeping it between the two of us and sharing it as those conversations happen organically. So yeah, Phillip, hello, welcome, and thanks for coming on.
Yeah, man. Thanks for doing this. This is a really great idea, and I'm really all about spreading information and educating people about the mortgage industry and the real estate industry as a whole, which I know you're really passionate about too. So I think this is a great idea. And yeah, kind of just piggybacking on what we were initially talking about is that, most people probably don't know that we've seen a pretty steady rate decline over the last 12 to maybe even 18 months, which is really exciting, especially for buyers, because not only are we seeing rates, trickle down, which can really help with affordability, which we talk a lot
Mhm.
about, we're kind of seeing a slower market as a whole. Homes are listing for a little while longer, staying on the market a little while longer, which is advantageous to buyers as well. Empowers them to really negotiate price, negotiate seller concessions, and all of those things are kind of all grouped into the whole affordability conversation. So,
For sure.
it's really exciting news for buyers and homeowners right now, especially if anyone's looking to, potentially buy up, or someone who's been in their home for a while and are maybe wanting to look to consolidate some debt that they have and talk
Mhm.
about kind of the refinance portion of things. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. And some of these conversations I have are in preparation for the market updates videos that I do. And I just got done doing like the deep data research, talking about all the numbers and everything. And I'm in the process of putting all that together so that I can do one of those videos. And so what the data is telling me is exactly that. Buyers are being afforded the opportunity to be a lot more picky. And because their buying power isn't as high as it was several years ago, they're really looking at the bottom dollar and choosing much more specifically what they're willing to pay for. Buyers, as a side note, buyers are also trending towards experience-based living rather than feature-based living. So houses that offer and homes that offer a lot more features that might give them like experiences, pools and access to walking trails and things like that are what buyers are trending towards looking for, right? So the inventory rising and rates trickling down, that means that we're kind of reaching towards a point where hopefully the market is going to be invigorated a little bit more in the next coming months and giving us both more opportunities to help more families achieve their goals, which is great.
100%. And that's really why I'm excited about this year and next year, really, is to just really see that come to fruition. I'm not going to guarantee, super, 5% rates or 4% rates. I'm not going to try and be extreme, but
Yeah.
I really am optimistic about our market as a whole. And this year, I think, is going to really be a great year for people who are in a position to buy and do exactly what you said, buy what they're wanting to buy and not settling for something that might be a little less or maybe a little out of their price range just to try and get a home. They can really buy what it is that they want, where they want, and at a more affordable price, which is really
Yep.
exciting.
Yeah, exactly. And all within reason, of course. Some people may
Mhm.
have unrealistic desires and expectations that they may not actually be able to afford, right?
Right.
But with rates coming down and inventory rising, your choices are greater these days, which is really great news. So tell us a little bit about, so just in my experience, my the way I see things in terms of the refinance opportunities that are out there. If you bought your house 12 to 24 months ago, be a little even after 12 to 24 months, I think is probably a good timeline. You probably bought with an interest rate close to 7, maybe even higher than 7. And if that's the case, and you have not yet taken an opportunity to refinance, dropping your interest rate a whole percentage or more right now can save you hundreds of dollars every month. And I'm not in the business of selling loans, but I do like people having better affordability and much more cash flow so they can do more things with their kids and just be more generous people in general. And it just affords you a lot more opportunities to do more with your money, which is great. I'm all for that.
Yeah, lowering somebody's interest rate by about 1% could typically save them anywhere from 150 to maybe $300 a month, depending on the situation that we're looking at. I think something that's really important for people to remember when we're talking about the refinance subject is we're not just only talking about lowering your interest rate. There's a lot of
Right.
other great benefits that come with doing a refinance. The one that's most closely related is that if you do refinance at a lower interest rate, guess what you're going to be saving a lot of money on? Paying interest over time. What if we lowered your interest rate by that 1%, lowered your monthly payment, but then also saved you 60 to $90,000 in interest over the 30-year term of your loan? How much excited would somebody be to not only lower their payment, but know they're going to get that money back into their pocket as well
Hmm.
on a year-over-year basis, which is really exciting. And then not only that, but we could potentially look at shortening their loan term. Most oftenly we talk about in the industry either a 15-year or a 30-year term when we're talking about mortgages. But what if we just lowered your term by maybe just a couple of years and turned it into a 28-year or a 27-year term? How cool would that be too? And not necessarily lower your monthly payment, but keep it at the same, but shorten your term overall over the long term. That's another strategy that we could look at. I actually just did that for a VA client of mine back in October. We lowered his interest rate a whole percent, and we also took 3 years off of his loan term and refinanced him at a 27-year, which was so cool. So,
How cool is that? Yeah,
there's
that's
a lot of different categories of benefits. Obviously
mhm.
the interest rate is the most popular and the one we like to talk most about. But there's definitely a lot of different benefits to looking at a refinance. One that I think that doesn't get stressed quite enough, especially kind of where we're at now, is that there was a lot of people who refinanced back in 2020, 2021, early 22, and got some out what I would say outlier interest rates. I don't know
Yeah.
if we'll ever see an interest rate below 3% again. It's just that's just a pretty amazing time, and I'm glad that some people were able to really save a lot of money and take advantage of that.
Hmm.
Um, but there could be people who are out there that maybe have those lower interest rates that might have some other debt that is accruing a lot more interest. There's a lot of people that have credit card debt or maybe some high interest car loans that are out there that we could potentially look at consolidating all that debt into their mortgage and refinancing that way as well. And
Right.
while, potentially we might increase their interest rate from what they had previously, they may still be able to have a longer term benefit by saving in all the interest that they would pay for those debts as
Absolutely.
well. Yeah, a lot of different
Fantastic. Yeah.
categories there.
Tons of options out there, but I guess at the end of the day, as we wrap up, we just want to make sure that everybody's aware that there are lots of doom and gloom. The sky is falling. People out there that are predicting just the worst of the worst. the numbers really aren't indicating that that's going to be the truth. Now, we don't know the future 100%, but in terms
Right.
of the actual market, the actuality of some massive cataclysmic event occurring, maybe. But if the market continues to go the way it's going, we expect it to just continue to kind of stabilize, normalize. Rates might improve a little bit, which could invigorate the market some. But at the end of the day, if you need to buy or sell, it's always a good time.
Yeah.
And we'd love to help you with that. So, with that in mind, we'll wrap up. And so appreciative of Philip and all the work you do and all the clients that I've sent your way that are super happy with the end result. And so, yeah, and there's so much more we could talk about, and we'll try to do this a little more often. But for now, if you have any needs, whether it's a refinance or a HELOC or something like that, please keep in mind Phillip Brock. All of his information will be in the notes or in the post of wherever we're going to post this, probably Facebook and YouTube and things like that. And please don't hesitate to reach out, set an appointment with me with my Calendly link, or reach out to Philip directly. Yeah, let us know if you got any questions. Final thoughts, Philip?
No, that's it, man. Thanks so much. Appreciate your time, and hope everyone has a great week this week.
Absolutely. All right. See you guys next time.